I have taken meatloaf to another level, cooking it in the oven and on the smoker. Yes, you'll love it. What goes great for Sunday lunch? Let's see, beef roast, baked chicken, fried chicken, of course. But today we're doing a family favorite, and it's especially good because you can heat up in the oven in the wintertime and it makes things cozy. We're doing a homemade meatloaf. And what I have here is 3 pounds of Angus prime ground beef that I get from our beef provider, which is a friend of ours. He's a rancher from South Dakota, Mr. John Baldwin at Dakota Prime Meats. And he is amazing and does a wonderful job with his steers. And I want you to see what this looks like. But this is the way we get it. We got about 70 of these in our last quarter beef that we got. It varies as to what you get, but let me show you how beautiful this is. So there it is unwrapped, y'all. Fresh out of the freezer. I defrosted these, and it's about a 90-10 ratio. And I get steaks, roast, beef jerky. I got a brisket. You get cube steak, or, you know, mostly hamburger. I think you can get all hamburger if you just wanted to get this beautiful hamburger. But it's consistent, and it's raised right. And do you know where your beef comes from? Hormone-free, antibiotic-free. But check their website out at Dakota Prime Meats. They deliver to several states in between South Dakota, around there, and all the way to North Carolina. And then they actually take North Carolina seafood back up to South Dakota. So it's the best of both worlds. But we're going to get to making this meatloaf. And if you can make 1 meatloaf, you can make 2. Then you put the other one back in the freezer and you can bring it out and cook it. That way you don't have to mess up your kitchen but once. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make 2 meatloafs. And what I have here, I have air fried on low bread and let it cool. And I'm going to chop it up and make my own breadcrumbs. Or if you're on low carb or keto, you can use crushed up pork rinds instead of this. So listen to that. It's crunchy all the way through. So I'm gonna chop that up and make my own breadcrumbs. And I do 2 slices of bread per pound of beef. So since we've got 3 pounds of beef over here, we're going to use 6 slices of bread. Got a little bit of brown sugar. You can do the keto or the sugar substitute brown sugar if you'd like. There's also sugar-free ketchup if you'd rather do this. And I'm starting to add things you can substitute and do differently because we are trying to eat healthier. We're trying to keep the Southern heritage alive, and on the holidays we do all out. But you know, during the rest of the year, we've got to try to stay healthy and do the best we can there. Here's a whole green pepper, and did you know if you get the ones with at least 4 tips on the bottom, then you actually can get a sweeter pepper. The ones with the 3 are a little bit zestier, I think. So you pick the one you want. I've got a good sized medium onion there. I've got some beef stock base. Got a little milk. You can use heavy cream if you're doing low carb. Salt and pepper. My favorite, roasted garlic. Seasoned salt. Onion powder. A little Parmesan cheese. And that's optional. And a little bit of Duke's mayonnaise. Here are some other things. You could put about a 1/2 cup of picante sauce in there. You could add some barbecue sauce of your choice. There's just some other variations you can do to this to get creative because you're cooking this for you. Cook it like you want it. So we're going to get started. The crumbled bread equaled actually about 2 cups of breadcrumbs, and I'm going to put that in along with about 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, but you can put more if you want. Let's mix it up. Now in my blender, I'm going to put 1/2 cup of whole milk. You can use whipping cream if you'd rather. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of mayo, and this is just regular Duke's mayonnaise. And finally, I'm going to put in the onion that I've peeled and quartered, and as well the green pepper that I washed, de-seeded, and put in there. And we're going to blend it. Now, this is up to you. I'm going to blend it till it's invisible to show you it can be done. and you just slowly pulse it, and there it goes. It's liquefied. And I'm going to pour it down onto the hamburger and cheese and breadcrumb mixture, and we're going to start seasoning it. And first, I'm going to add a tablespoon of beef stock concentrate, and that's that better than bouillon, and roasted garlic, seasoning salt, as well as onion powder. And I'm just going to put in probably a teaspoon of the garlic, half teaspoon of onion, and a half teaspoon of seasoning salt, as well as some pepper and some ketchup and a little bit of brown sugar. And you can always find the ingredients that I have used in the description, which is to the right of the title. Click the down arrow. The last thing I added before I started mixing it was 3 whole eggs. And now we're going to take it and stop it and turn it over to make sure we're getting all the seasonings everywhere and there's nothing stuck at the bottom. We're going to give it a final blend, and ta-da! Dun-da-da-da! It's ready to go in the pans, y'all. Now here I have 2 aluminum loaf pans, and I've sprayed them with a nonstick cooking spray, and we're going to measure on a scale to make sure I evenly divvy it out and smooth it down. And at this point, we're going to loosely cover one with foil, because with the other one, you can either give it away for somebody else to bake, or you can wrap it tightly, and I'll show you how to do that to put it in the freezer. But first of all, we're going to put the first one at 375 for 45 minutes in the oven. And make sure you set the timer. If you're going to freeze one, you cover it with aluminum foil and press it down and layer it at least 2 times. One with regular foil, the second with heavy duty. Write on what it is, the date, and what the instructions are. And that way, if you give it to somebody else, they know what to do. Now, through the magic of film editing, we are taking that meatloaf out of the oven. It's been 45 minutes, and I'm going to try something different to drain it. I'm actually going to pour it over that bowl you see at the bottom, but first I checked the temperature to make sure it was at least 155 degrees, because carryover will take it to 160, and plus we're going to put it back in the oven. But I tried to drain it, and then we're going to dump it into a pan that was lined with foil. And I'm putting a little ketchup and a little brown sugar on top. I'm going to smooth it over, and that's going to be our glaze when we put it back in the oven. And we're going to stick it back in there probably about 10 minutes, and just to get a pretty color to sear that glaze. So we'll look at that in a minute. Isn't that pretty? Oh gosh, it's so pretty. And you let it rest, and then you can transfer it to a serving platter and make it look so pretty. And you could just put some different greens or things, but guess what I did with that second one, y'all? Randy had a great idea for once. I'm just kidding. No, he had a great idea. He said, why don't you put it on the smoker? So I did, y'all. And so I'm doing the same thing that I did the other one too, but anytime you smoke meat, you're going to have a little pink on it. But here I am putting the glaze on it, and I put that under the broiler for 5 minutes, and it caramelized a little bit, and that's what those black dots are. But I'm telling you, they're both delicious, but that smoke flavor, oh my goodness, it just knocks it into next year. If y'all got a pellet grill smoker, I highly recommend it. Yum, yum. Woo. Y'all know you got to eat before Christmas, and here's just a great dinner idea, or you can have this all year long. Serve it with my homemade mashed potatoes though, y'all. Look up that recipe too. Yum, yum. Enjoy.